Hello viewers, in this video we are going to look at one of the database implementation in Python, which is SQLite. You would have worked on tables, views and different types of SQL queries on different RDBMS like SQL Server, Oracle, etc. In this video we are going to look at SQLite, which is a C library that allows accessing the database using the SQL queries. It ideally does not require any installation because it is a file-based system. All the database objects that we create will be stored in a file, and during the data retrieval, the data will be read from the file and displayed in the output window. It is said that the SQLite works well on cell phones, game consoles, watches, remote sensors, drones, and on many other embedded devices that does not require any human administration. So it would be a right fit on all these areas. It has got a variety of applications. You can check out the reference link where the SQLite has provided a detailed list of this file-based database usage. Now I'll show you how we can use SQLite with Python using Jupyter Notebook. To use SQLite, we first have to import SQLite 3 library. The next step is to create a database and connect to it. In this statement, we are calling the connect method to connect to the database, which is school.db. Basically, I'm going to create this database for a school to store student details or staff details or the details pertaining to the school administration. When we try to print the connection object, we can see that the object has been created. So that means the database has also been created. So where can we find the database? Go to the same path where you have created this notebook file. Here I can see that the school.db got created, and when I try to open this file, I'll not be able to see any data in it. Now that we have created a database, we can now create tables in this database. So to execute the SQL statements, we need to create a cursor on this connection. So what is a cursor? Cursor is basically a temporary memory space where you can work with your data. So this memory space or the cursor will have records from the table based on your SQL query that you execute. After all the required changes are done in the cursor, we issue a commit statement that actually makes the updates to the database. So I'm creating a cursor here on this particular connection object, which is CUR. To execute the SQL queries, I need to give it inside cursor.execute. So I'm going to create a very basic table for storing the student details. And this table name is called student, which is going to have name, date of birth, current location, and age. Once we issue this create table statement, so SQLite stores the schema of this particular table in SQLite_master. By executing this query, I can get the schema of this particular table, and this confirms that the student table has been created in the database. The next step is to insert the records into the student table, for which I'm going to execute this SQL query, which will insert one record into the student table. Now let's see if this particular record got inserted into the student table. So I'm going to execute select star from student, and this result set is going to be stored in the res object, and by calling the fetch all method, it is going to retrieve me all the records from the res object. Since we have inserted only one record into the student table, only one record got retrieved. Likewise, we can perform other DDL and DML operations using SQLite. So I can update the current location of this particular record to LOC1, where name equal to Sam. So once I execute this, the record would have got updated in the cursor. Now let's try to retrieve the record from the cursor. Here I can see that in this particular record, the location got updated to LOC1 from LOC, which we had inserted in the previous statement. Now let me insert one more record into this table. So I'll give select star from student, and I'm going to fetch all the records from the result set, and it is going to display me two records from the student table. By mistake, I have inserted the same record twice. In that case, I can select only the distinct records by giving select distinct star from student, which is going to retrieve me the distinct set of records. So in this case, since I don't have any duplicate records in my table, it is retrieving the same 2 rows which I have inserted. I can also issue a delete statement where I'm going to delete the record that is going to have current location as LOC5. So let me execute the statement. Now selecting the records from the student is going to retrieve me only one record because we have deleted the record that has location as LOC5. From this data, I am noticing that I am missing one of the very important column, which is the student number, and that is going to be the unique value. So I can alter the table by adding student number. Now when I select the data from the student, it is going to retrieve me none for the newly added column. In this query, I am going to update the student table with the student number as 123 where the name is Sam. Once I execute this query, I can see that the student number got updated to 123. In this example, we were working only on 1 or 2 records. Now let me insert one more record into this table by passing the values as David, 2nd Jan, LOC5, 11 and 456. So my student table is going to have 2 records now. Having worked on the DDL and the DML queries, now let's try to build a SQL query using joins. So for that, I need another table, and in my example, I'm going to create another table which is games, and it is going to hold only 2 columns which are student number and game. To this table, I'm going to pass 2 records for the same student number, and one record having the game as chess and the other record having the game as football. When I select the record from games, I can see 2 records to be created. This is the SQL query that we have, which is going to join the tables student with the alias name A, inner join with games with the alias name B on A.student_number equal to B.student_number. And using this join, I'm going to select all the column values from A and only the game from B. When I fetch all the records, I can see that this join is going to return me 2 records, one containing the game as chess and other containing the game as football for the same student. Similarly, we can also use a left outer join on these 2 tables because we have an additional record in student A which does not have any game in the game table. So this left outer join is going to return me 3 records where the game for David is marked as none. And to get all these data stored in the database, we need to issue the commit command. So I'll give con.commit, which is going to commit all these to the database. So once after my work is done on this database, I'm going to close the connection. And this is how Python works with SQLite 3 library on the SQL queries. Hope you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel to get alerts on new videos related to Python and data science.